Hey everybody, Tanya from ShootingStarSVG back, and today I want to talk to y'all about Etsy SEO now using descriptions. So if this is your first time here, go ahead and click on like and subscribe below, as that does keep me motivated to continue making these videos, so that way you can grow your business and change your life. And if you haven't already, head on over to the Facebook group, where we are creating a community of like-minded individuals looking to grow their semi-passive income with digital downloads. Etsy has made another algorithm change. And we weren't super surprised about this. I noticed a lot of search volume being kind of wonky a few months back. I presume when they were testing this out. But, you know, everything that we've always said about Etsy SEO had to do with titles, tags, categories, and attributes. And now we can finally say that Etsy is scanning descriptions for relevant keywords. This means that the algorithm is continuing to evolve and grow up and be more like our friends Google. So I found it very interesting. They made the announcement just a few days ago, and everybody's been kind of like in uproar and freaking out. But I just want to kind of reassure you guys today that it's nothing to sweat. If you've been writing decent descriptions, there really shouldn't be much of a worry. For digital, it can be a little bit more convoluted, right? Because what you see is kind of what you get. So we don't really have much to describe in comparison to like physical sellers, where it would be very beneficial to describe what the person is getting. But it does give us the opportunity to write a solid 2 to 3 sentence or 2 to 3 bullet points that explain exactly what our product is at the beginning. Now, a lot of the times I will recommend putting your title at the beginning of your description, because it does kind of give a little boost for Google SEO. Keep in mind, really only the first 160 characters are scanned, and anything after that in Google is kind of like meh. So I'm not sure if Etsy is going to take the same approach. Here's the thing. It's in its infancy, right? So we don't really know to what extent Etsy is going to be searching for these things through the description with their query matching. However, I do plan to run some tests where I am posting a listing with titles, tags, categories, and attributes optimized, and then without a description, and just doing the same thing that I've always been doing. And then creating a second listing, a copy of that basically has the exact same SEO with the same information in a description. And then a third one that has limited tags, but the title and the description, categories, and attributes are optimized. And this will kind of allow me to see which ones are ranking where. And I'm not sure what that's going to look like just yet, but we're going to give it a shot and see what happens. And hopefully I'll have an update in a few weeks. But in the meantime, I would like to head over to my computer screen to show y'all the announcement that was made, as well as some informative information, or, you know, however you want to explain it. Maybe not so informative, depending on how this shakes out, that Etsy has provided. So I'm going to head over to my computer screen and we'll dive right in. So today is the 20th of May. As you can see, this was announced on Tuesday, and Etsy had announced that, hey, descriptions have always been important, because Google and other search engines utilize this for ranking, and that Etsy considers keywords and phrases within your listing descriptions when ranking your listings. The keywords you use across your titles, tags, categories, and attributes are still essential when it comes to matching you to the right buyers. So what does this mean for you? Now that they're looking for keywords within your description, the algorithm has even more to scan, allowing us to get your items in front of even more buyers. So what does this mean? Could people potentially stuff a bunch of keywords at the beginning of a description, and they're going to all of a sudden be in the playing field for certain search queries? I'm not entirely sure. I think a good way to test this will be to actually input a bunch of trash keywords, kind of like how we did for the Etsy algorithm scan, in the beginning of the description and see if it pops up. So that is also something that I'm going to be doing to see how that works. But it just kind of begs the question, especially selling digitally, somebody who sells SVGs, we obviously have a certain pool of keywords that we can utilize from our seed keywords, but it's much harder to describe a digital item when you're selling a scalable vector graphic, unless you're describing what the end user can utilize it for or who they can give it to. So a lot of us use the same kind of tags. So it's going to make things a little bit interesting, I believe. Okay. So they do go through some tips for writing listing descriptions. Aim to incorporate relevant keywords in the first few sentences of your listing descriptions. Avoid copying your title verbatim or simply listing your top keywords. Instead, you want to craft a sentence or two that casually incorporates a few of your top keywords in a way that sounds human and written in your brand's voice. Continue to include important information that will help buyers best understand your product. And then, as we assume, they're going to bump you over to the Ultimate Guide to Etsy Search, which a lot of this information has not been updated since 2018, 2019, some 2020, a little bit in 2021, but not really anything that is related to the search algorithm itself. So I will post a link to the Ultimate Guide to Etsy Search down below, but here's where it is. You can see that they edited it on May 1st, 2022, and it goes through each of these categories. So how Etsy Search was updated. And this has a bunch of information on Etsy Search itself. And you can see here under query matching, it does mention listing descriptions. Now, this is unfortunate for me. I'm going to have to go back and update the SEO course to basically let everybody know, hey, descriptions work. We're not really sure what it's going to be like yet, but I will be posting continual updates in the SEO course on what we're finding outside of YouTube. So if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and check out that SEO course up above. It's $27 and basically goes through how the Etsy search engine works, as well as different tools that you can utilize to find certain trends and ranking products for Etsy. So feel free to go check that out. $27. It is a steal. And once I hit 10K subscribers, all of my courses will be deeply discounted for a limited time. So definitely go check that out. I also went over into Keywords 101, and they do talk about listing descriptions in here. Let me scroll down. I don't think this was updated recently, so let's see. Oh, it was updated recently because they wanted to add this in here. And so you can see here that it's basically a copy-paste of what they've put in the announcements. They consider keywords and phrases within your listing descriptions when ranking. The keywords you use across your listing titles, descriptions, tags, categories, and attributes are essential when it comes to query matching, the first phase of search ranking within Etsy search algorithm. So they talk about the tips. And again, these are the same 3 tips that they included in the announcement. And again, I know a lot of the times I told people go ahead and copy and paste your title and put it at the beginning of the listing. I would still do that, but what you're going to want to do is insert your 2 to 3 sentences or whatever it is at the beginning of your listing and then have that title directly underneath it. Okay. I am not going to go back through and sweat editing a ton of listings right now because I have over 600 in one shop and over 150 in another, and it would just be super painful for me to have to do that. Now, I'm still editing listings from 2018 when I didn't know lick about SEO, so it's just crazy. And then there is one more article here about how to write enticing item descriptions. And it's useful to go through. This has not been updated, but it does give you some tips to create a well-written description. Okay. You know, I don't want people to freak out about this. We're going to do some testing to see how this thing works. And just kind of see how everything goes. I'll be copying some listings and just editing the descriptions and taking out tags. See how that works. We'll be doing all sorts of stuff over the next few weeks to see how Etsy is picking up on these changes. And hopefully it'll be pretty quick. So we'll see, right? It's going to be some growing pains, as it always is with any of these new announcements. But the biggest thing I want to stress to everybody is don't overcomplicate it and don't freak out, okay? If things are selling well, just keep creating. You know, we're going to work through these. And if there's a way that we can capture items in a better way in our descriptions where we're ranking higher, then that's fantastic. We'll take that and we'll run with it. We will learn about this together, and it's going to be a really interesting journey. So If you'll have any feedback, I'd like to know what you think about this change. Do you think Etsy's crazy? Do you think that it's going to flood the search engine with a bunch of stuff that's going to be completely irrelevant, which is kind of counterintuitive to what they're trying to do, right? Which is bring more people onto Etsy, and people should be having fun when shopping on Etsy or whatever it may be. I'm not really sure what the driver for the change is. Maybe they want to be more like Google. I have no clue, but I'd be curious to hear your feedback below. And as always, if you got something out of this video, go ahead and click on like and subscribe below, because that does keep me motivated to continue making these videos, so that way you can grow your business and change your life. And again, if you haven't joined the Facebook group, go ahead and join up over there, where we are creating a community of like-minded individuals looking to grow their semi-passive income with digital downloads. If you need anything else, don't hesitate to reach out. ShootingStarSVG, signing out.